Now, a lot of times we'll hear people talk about the difference between saltwater and freshwater. Can you kind of separate the two and kind of tell us what the benefits are of each of them?
Well, the freshwater, you're not going to access the river. You're not going to access the Gulf. It's a closed system. There's some really cool freshwater canals. There's some pretty amazing bass fishing on some freshwater canals. There's some big lakes. Some of them lead to, like, you can lead to Lake Kennedy. Some
Yep.
of them, I mean, there's a lot you can do. I wouldn't overlook the freshwater. Freshwater are very cheap right now,
Hmm.
primarily because seawalls.
Right.
Seawalls have become an issue, but it's kind of created a buying opportunity as well. I have a partnership where we acquire land and sell it to builders. Sometimes we'll spec a house on it too. And I can acquire freshwater lots right now for cheaper than I can acquire a dry lot because everybody is so uncertain about
Right.
the seawall code changes. Now, saltwater, it's all over the board. You have a really good friend of mine bought a house that was one of the guys from Godsmack built it, the rock band in the Cape.
Right.
It was a pretty cool house. And this house, the pool area looked like something somebody from Godsmack would have built. It was
Right.
the pool area is pretty awesome. But it was Southwest Cape, which is a really nice neighborhood. But if you track the bridges to get out, he was 30 minutes to open water.
Right.
So one of the things with saltwater is you really need to understand if there's bridges, how
Hmm.
high the bridges are. If you see the term sailboat access, that generally means no bridges to
Right.
open water. That
Right.
doesn't mean you're going to fit a huge sailboat down the canal as well, though.
Mhm.
You need to still understand, how deep the canal is. There's a lot more modalities than just that. But
Right.
one of the main things in the Cape to pay attention to is how far you are to open water. And and in particularly what open water. If you're like me, when I go out on my boat, I live in North Fort Myers right off the river. I'm either on my boat playing in the river or we all tow them, trailer them to the tip of Pine Island, Bokeelia. And then we go
Yeah.
play around Pine Island Sound and go to Gasparilla and stuff like that. So it's and so if that's what you're there to do, and that's the most important question you have to ask yourself is
Right.
what are we here to do when you're
Yep.
buying a home or anything? And particularly if you're a fisherman and Pine Island's important to you, then probably the Northwest Cape is a better option than the Southwest Cape. If you're really wanting to take your boat and go to the sandbar parties and anchor off the Lani Kai and just have a good time, then South Cape's great for you.
Right.
So but you've really got to define what you're there to do. What's awesome with the freshwater, just to get back on that asset class, a lot of wildlife in there.
Yep.
So, and there is some amazing bass fishing on those canals. So, you can fish well, water ski. There's a lot you can do, or else just kayak. Like my running joke is I own 7 boats, but 6 of them are kayaks that you have to paddle.
Sure.
It makes me feel like I've done better in life that I have 7 boats. But, like with me and my wife, if we get an early out at the office, which is pretty rare in today's real estate market, we'll just jump on our kayaks, kayak out to the mouth of the river, watch the sun go down. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So there's a lot you can do. Paddle boarding. There's a lot of paddle boarding that happens on those too. Everybody always asks about alligators.
Yes,
I don't know.
they do.
I actually go hunting in the Everglades. I grew up in Florida. I've been all over the Everglades, and generally, unless it's been fed, which is a bad thing, if an alligator sees you, they leave. They have a natural fear of humans. But it always comes up about alligators. It's actually pretty funny. You get to the point after you lived here a few years, you'll see an alligator and you won't even notice it.
It won't make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
They stick to themselves, definitely. So to recap the saltwater versus freshwater, we're not often talking about the actual salt in the water. We're talking about Gulf access most of the times. And which, if you're looking for Gulf access, you should be a fisherman. You should look to access the Gulf. In which the other questions are then how many bridges, the height of those bridges, and really the amount of time it takes to get to open water. If you are on a freshwater canal, that is not a reason to say that you have a lesser property. It just means you're looking to have different usage, in which we're often looking at kayaking. We often think about just water access as being canals, there's also a number of lakes that are available in which a lake can be perfectly fine. And you also create a barrier between you and the property behind you, where it creates an overall sense of peacefulness and a sense of just being in a unique speck of land that is all yours, and you are more intertwined with nature. So
most of my morning is
yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things we didn't cover here, is just how important the direction of your backyard is. But a lot of people, whether you're a sunrise person or a sunset person, or you want the sun to be there all day, the facing of your back property is very important to a lot of residents here.
Yeah, I actually have my morning coffee sitting on my boat dock. So every morning I get up, make a cup of coffee, walk out back, survey my universe, see if we actually bought a crab trap on Amazon. So, you know, once in a while, we get a blue crab. It's a pretty exciting morning if you got a blue crab in the trap. So there's something to be said for living on the water.
Absolutely. And it makes this part of the country so unique compared to everyone else. Not only that we have the water, but that we have access to it really any day of the week.